the Russian Academy of Sciences Rossíiskaya akadémiya naúk, consists of the National Academy of Russia, a network of scientific research institutes from across the Russian Federation, and additional scientific and social units such as libraries, publishing units, and hospitals. Headquartered in Moscow, the Academy is considered a civil, self-governed, non-commercial organization chartered by the government of Russia. It combines the members of RAS and scientists employed by institutions. The Academy currently includes around 500 institutions and 55,000 scientific researchers. Membership: there are three types of membership in the RAS: full members, corresponding members, and foreign members. Academicians and corresponding members must be citizens of the Russian Federation when elected. However, some academicians and corresponding members were elected before the collapse of the USSR and are now citizens of other countries. Members of RAS are elected based on their scientific contributions. A Euro-election to membership is considered very prestigious. As of 2005 and 2007 there are just under 500 full members in the Academy and a similar number of corresponding members. Structure: the RAS consists of 11 specialized scientific divisions, 3 territorial divisions, sometimes called branches, and 14 regional scientific centers. The Academy has numerous councils, committees, and commissions, all organized for different purposes. Territorial divisions: Siberian Division of the Russian Academy of Sciences. The Siberian Division was established in 1957, with Mikhail Lavrentiev as founding chairman. Research centers are in Novosibirsk, Tomsk, Krasnoyarsk, Irkutsk, Yakutsk, Ulyan-Ude, Kemerovo, Tyumen and Omsk. As of 2005, the division employed over 33,000 employees, 58 of whom were members of the Academy. Ural Division of the Russian Academy of Sciences. The Ural Division was established in 1932, with Alexander Fizman as its founding chairman. Research centers are in Yekaterinburg, Perm, Chelyabinsk, Izhevsk, Orenburg, Ufa and Syktyvkar. As of 2007, the division employed 3,600 scientists, 590 full professors, 31 full members, and 58 corresponding members of the Academy. Far East Division of the Russian Academy of Sciences. The Far East Division includes the Primorski Scientific Center in Vladivostok, the Amur Scientific Center in Blagoveshchensk, the Khabarovsk Scientific Center, the Sakhalin Scientific Center in Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk, the Kamchatka Scientific Center in Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky and the Northeastern Scientific Center in Magadan. Regional centers: Buryat Scientific Center, Kazan Scientific Center, Pushkino Scientific Center, Samara Scientific Center, Saratov Scientific Center, Vladikava Scientific Center of the RAS and the Government of the Republic of Northern Ossetia, Jestan Scientific Center, Kabardino-Balkarian Scientific Center, Karelian Scientific Center, Kola Scientific Center, Science Scientific of the RAS in Cherenovgolova St. Petersburg Scientific Center, Ufa Scientific Center, Southern Scientific Center, Troitsk Scientific Center, Perm Scientific Center. Institutions: the Russian Academy of Sciences comprises a large number of research institutions, including member institutions are linked via a dedicated Russian space science internet. Started with just 3 members, the RSSI now has 3,100 members, including 57 from the largest research institutions. Russian universities and technical institutes are not under the supervision of the RAS, but a number of leading universities, such as Moscow State University, St. Petersburg State University, Novosibirsk State University, and the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, make use of the staff and facilities of many institutes of the RAS. The MIPT faculty refers to this arrangement as the PhysTech system. From 1933 to 1992, the main scientific journal of the Soviet Academy of Sciences was the Proceedings of the USSR Academy of Sciences. After 1992, it became simply Proceedings of the Academy of Sciences. The Academy is also increasing its presence in the educational area. In 1990 the Higher Chemical College of the Russian Academy of Sciences was founded, a specialized university intended to provide extensive opportunities for students to choose an academic path. Awards: the Academy gives out a number of different prizes, medals and awards, among which, Demidov Prize, Lomonosov Gold Medal, Markov Prize, Bogolyubov Gold Medal, Pushkin Prize, S.V. Lebedov Award. History Foundation The Academy was founded in St. Petersburg by Peter the Great, inspired and advised by Gottfried Leibniz, and implemented in the Senate Decree of February 8, 1724. It was originally called the St. Petersburg Academy of Sciences. The name varied over the years, becoming the Imperial Academy of Sciences and Arts, the Imperial Academy of Sciences, and finally, the Imperial St. Petersburg Academy of Sciences. Among the foreign scholars invited to work at the Academy were the mathematicians Leonhard Euler, Anders Johann Lexell, Christian Goldbach, Georg Bernhard Bilfinger, Nicholas and Daniel Bernoulli, botanist Johann Georg Gmelin, embryologists Caspar Friedrich Wolff, astronomer and geographer Joseph Nicholas de Lisle, physicist Georg Wolfgang Kraft, historian Gerard Friedrich Marwan-Courtelet and English astronomer Royal Neville Maskelyne. Expeditions to explore remote parts of the country had Academy scientists as their leaders or most active participants. These included Vitus Bering's second Kamchatka expedition of 1733–43, expeditions to observe the 1769 transit to Venus from 8 locations in Russian Empire, and Peter Simon Pallas's expeditions to Siberia. The Russian Academy A separate organization, called the Russian Academy, was created in 1783 to work on the study of the Russian language. Presided over by Princess Yekaterina Dashkova, the Russian Academy was engaged in compiling the 6-volume academic dictionary of the Russian language. The Russian Academy was merged into the Imperial St. Petersburg Academy of Sciences in 1841. The Academy of Sciences of the USSR In December 1917, Sergei Fyodorovich Oldenburg, a leading ethnographer and political activist in the Cadet Party, met with Vladimir Lenin to discuss the future of the Academy. They agreed that the expertise of the Academy would be applied to addressing questions of state construction, while in return the Soviet regime would give the Academy financial and political support. By the early 1918 it was agreed that the Academy would report to the Department of the Mobilization of Scientific Forces of the People's Commissariat for Education, which replaced the Provisional Government's Ministry of Education. In 1925 the Soviet government recognized the Russian Academy of Sciences as the highest all-union scientific institution, and renamed it the Academy of Sciences of the USSR. Political control, however, from 1928 on the Politburo interfered in the affairs of the Academy. By the summer of 1929, Yuri Petrovich Figotna headed a special government commission that had to inspect the Academy and purge it of counter-revolutionaries, turning it into a Stalinist organization. Figotna's commission originally included Sergei Oldenburg, but he was sacked for obstructing the reconstruction of the Academy of Sciences. By the end of 1929, 128 members of staff out of 960 were fired, with a further 520 supernumeraries from 830 also dismissed. In the following year over 100 people were charged in what is called the academicians' case. Former academicians such as G.S. Gabov, A. A. Arnoldi, Nikolai Antsifrov, had already been exiled or imprisoned, but were also put on trial. On August 8, 1931 the board of the Joint State Political Administration Board condemned 29 people, including S. V. Baklyshin, V. N. Benchevik, D. N. Egorov, Y. V. Gortia, N. V. Izmailov, Nikolai Kachov, M. K. Lyubovsky, A. M. Matvat, Sergei Platonov, S. V. Rozdestvensky, Yevgeny Tal. In 1931 the Joint State Political Administration Board imposed another wave of punishments on the research officers of various establishments of the Academy of Sciences, the Russian Museum, the Central Archives, and others. These included A. A. Bielyanitsky Birulaya, A. A. Dostoyevsky, B. M. Inchilget, N. S. Platonova, M. D. Prislakov, A. A. Putilov, S.V. Surjurist, F.F. Skribanovich, S.I. Tkorzhevsky, and A.I. Zazursky. Some former officers, who worked for the Academy of Sciences such as A.A. Kovanko and Y.A. Vitskvitsky, were executed by shooting. N.V. Raevsky, P.V. Wittenberg and D.N. Karturin, who had organized various expeditions, the priests A.V. Mitrotsky, M.V. Mitrotsky, and M.M. Gers, Professor E.B. Furman, Pastor A.F. Frischfeld and F.I. Vitayatsevsedenko, S.S. Baron of Galpison and for example Baron of Galpison were also punished. Smaller commissions investigated institutions, thus the Commission for the Reorganization of KIPS and the Museum of Anthropology and Ethnography subjected these organizations to socialist criticism. In 1934 the Academy headquarters moved from Leningrad to the Russian capital, Moscow, together with a number of academic institutes. At the end of the first year after World War II the Academy consisted of 8 divisions, 3 committees, 2 commissions, a laboratory for scientific photography and cinematography and Academy of Science press departments external to the divisions, 7 branches, and 8 independent academies in Ukraine, Belarus, Armenia, Georgia, Lithuania, Uzbekistan, Latvia, and Estonia. The Academy of Sciences of the USSR helped to establish national academies of sciences in all Soviet republics, in many cases delegating prominent scientists to live and work in other republics. In the case of the Ukraine, its academy was formed by the local Ukrainian scientists and prior to the occupation of the Ukrainian People's Republic by Bolsheviks. These academies were post-Soviet period after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. By decree of the President of Russia of December 2, 1991, the institute once again became the Russian Academy of Sciences, inheriting all facilities of the USSR Academy of Sciences in the territory of Russia. Near the Central Academy building there is a monument of Yuri Gagarin in the square that bears his name. Dissolution of the Russian Academy of Sciences on June 28, 2013. The Russian government unexpectedly announced a draft law of dissolution of the Russian Academy of Sciences founded in 1724 and establishing a new public governmental organization with the same name. During this reform, all buildings and other property of the Academy will be taken away under control of a government-appointed official. The reform is allegedly authored by Mikhail Kovalchuk, brother of Yuri Kovalchuk, known as Vladimir Putin's personal banker. Mikhail Kovalchuk was repeatedly rejected during elections to the Academy. Simultaneously, a new law regulating the status of the new organization was submitted for approval by the Russian Duma and was submitted for approval the following week. After the acceptance of this law, a liquidation process of the Academy should be completed within 3 months. The law puts severe restrictions on the autonomy of academic institutions in Russia and deprives RAS of the control over all of its material assets. All the existing institutions of RAS are offered to move away from the new organization, to subordinate them to a special administrative government agency, Agency of Scientific Institutions, and to subject them to a selection compliant with certain conditions defined solely by this agency. The functions of this agency are not well specified in the law. The draft law, which fundamentally changes the system of science organization in Russia, has been prepared and examined without discussion within the scientific community. Even the public structures created by the Ministry of Education and Science for consultations with the representatives of the scientific community have not been involved in a discussion of the draft law and have not been informed on its existence. The Academy has also not been informed on the existence of the project. This piece of legislation, accompanied by the unusual haste with which it was announced and put through the first stage of approval, created a considerable worry in the academic community and a strong rejection by many leading Russian and foreign scientists. A large group of members of the Russian Academy of Sciences announced their intention not to enter into a new academy after the reform. Many world's leading scientists have written open letters which refer to the planned reform of the shocking, and even criminal. Presidents of the St. Petersburg, USSR, and Russian Academies of Sciences, the following persons occupied the position of the Academy's president. Nobel Prize laureates affiliated with the Academy. See also. References. External links: RAS website, website of RAS management, RAS institutes in the ranking web of research centers, Russian Space Science Internet Network, open letter to the President of the Russian Federation Vladimir V. Putin from the members of the Russian Academy of Sciences, satellite photo of the RAS main building, satellite photo of the RAS old building.